of President Trump. His voice was strong. And I talked to Dr. Greer this morning, Dr. Stephen Greer, one of our guys on the air, about, and Dr. Greer reiterated, he said, the president's voice was strong. I said, like top of his game. And that would indicate that he is asymptomatic and everything's going to be great.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today. Trending now on the Eric Metaxas Show.
But the energy this president has, the ability to do all the things that he's done, are gifts from God. And I think that he's probably been tempted in his life to ignore that a little bit, and that this might be an opportunity for him to understand these things, including the ability to be president and to affect things for good. These are gifts from God. These are privileges. And, as you said, again, this is it's an opportunity. Sometimes when you go through something like this, it's God's way of blessing you.
Well, I was thinking of that specifically when I wrote the section of the column today that said the president's going to have a hard time slowing down. There's an element to the manic addiction to success that for people that really live off that vibe. And I think that sometimes there's just no other way for God to reach certain people than to say, I'm going to give you a timeout. So guess what? He's not going to campaign. He's not going to be able to be out having the big rallies. He's not going to be able to do all of this. I for all the political things that are kind of under the microscope because of that, I'm okay with those setting aside for a couple of weeks if God does something in his life that is remarkable. And I think that when you're talking about a Supreme Court nominee that's going to be being examined during this same window of time, you're talking about a stimulus relief package that still probably needs to be passed, or at least Congress is arguing about that. Maybe it's better.
They're stoking fears about Black and brown Americans, lying about how minorities will destroy the suburbs, whipping up violence and intimidation. And they're pinning it all on what's been an overwhelmingly peaceful movement for racial solidarity. It's true. Research backs it up. Only a tiny fraction of demonstrations have had any violence at all. So what the president is doing is, once again, patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist.
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. Larry Elder, ReliefFactor.com studio. Quite a statement to make. This is a woman, Michelle Obama, who recently accused white people of still running. Y'all still running. She was complaining about white flight, which she witnessed when she was growing up in Chicago. I did a video about this, and I said, this whole business about white flight is a lot more complicated than what Michelle Obama is outlining. My neighborhood changed from one neighborhood that was all white to all Black within a matter of years. And I'm not saying that a lot of people did not leave the neighborhood because of racism, because of fear of Black people. But there were a whole lot of people who stayed in the neighborhood for a while, and then they realized a lot of their sons and daughters were being picked on and bullied by a lot of these Black kids living in the neighborhood. There was even Black flight as well. And Michelle Obama does not mention that. It's really curious, isn't it? She said when she was complaining about white flight, she said, quote, and I'm quoting her, "Y'all still running," close quote. Again, fascinating how people like Oprah Winfrey can just insult white people, call them bigots, and then they still say that she's respectable and we just love her, and y'all still running. Really? And you have Sharpton complaining about white people moving into a neighborhood, call them interlopers. Spike Lee also complained about gentrification. So do you want people to move into the neighborhood or to not move into the neighborhood? Now, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, there's a new law that would trample the religious rights of Christians and other people of faith. It's being strongly challenged in court by our friends at Alliance Defending Freedom. Now, among other things, the Virginia law forbids photographers like Bob Updegrove from explaining on his studio's own website the religious reasons why he only celebrates wedding ceremonies between one man and one woman. Well, Virginia is threatening Bob with a $50,000 fine and wants to force him to photograph same-sex weddings in violation of his beliefs. And Bob says it's just not right.
The state has a responsibility to protect my religious freedom. It shouldn't be able to silence or punish me for living out and expressing my faith. Free speech protects everyone, and there should be room in the marketplace for people to express different views on social and cultural topics that are important to them, and to express those views without fear of being punished by their government.
Now, on Monday, Alliance Defending Freedom filed a lawsuit to overturn this new Virginia law, and as always, ADF is defending Bob for free. But all that free legal help does cost money, and ADF is counting on us to go to my website, larryelder.com, click on the ADF banner so they can continue to represent people like Bob for free. Please consider making a single gift of $100 or more so that Alliance Defending Freedom will have the money they need if your First Amendment freedoms are threatened, just as Bob's are. Again, go to my website, larryelder.com, support ADF with an online gift or phone in your donation, 888-670-1591, 888-670-1591, to help Alliance Defending Freedom keep fighting for you. I've told you that I first saw Barack Obama interviewed on 60 Minutes when he was running against Hillary in 2008, and he was beginning now to catch some currency. That's why they put him on 60 Minutes. And not only did he respond this way when he was asked, if you don't get the nomination, will it be because of racism? He said, no. If I don't get the nomination, it will be because I have not outlined a vision that the American people can embrace, which I thought was a wonderful answer. Too bad he didn't govern like that. Also, Michelle Obama was interviewed, and she was asked whether she feared for his safety were he to run for the presidency. You know what she said? She said no. As a black man, Barack could be shot getting gas at a gas station in Chicago. Now, Steve Croft, the correspondent, did not follow that up, or at least we did not see if he followed it up. These interviews are taped, so they're heavily edited, so you really don't know whether he did say, well, what do you mean by that? But she didn't elaborate. I don't think she was talking about Confederate generals. I don't think she was talking about the Aryan brothers. I don't think she was talking about white nationalists. I think she was talking about the crime in Chicago. But have you heard her say anything about it? Really? You remember the teenage girl who performed at Obama's second inaugural from Chicago? Weeks after she performed at the inaugural, she was shot and killed. Apparently by one of those to whom it may concern bullets shot by a gang member. There is a documentary called Chicagoland, which aired, I think, for several weeks on CNN. And it followed around the mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, the then chief of police of Chicago. And it followed around a woman who was a principal of an inner city high school called Fenger High, Fenger. In that documentary, she and her staff were making maps. I started to say masks. Making maps that had routes to and from school, and she was handing out those maps so her kids could follow those routes because it would minimize the possibility of the kids being killed walking to and from school while traversing through gangland territory. Has Michelle Obama said anything about that? Michelle Obama, again, attended a high school outside of her local area because she and her family perceived that school to be inferior. And she voluntarily got on a bus and went further each day in order to attend a better school. Isn't that what choice is all about? Barack Obama's mom sent him to Hawaii to live with her parents, his grandparents, so he can get a better education. Yet the Democratic Party does not want an inner city parent who's facing the prospect of sending a kid to a school where only 3% of the kids can do math at grade level, or if it's Baltimore, there are 13 high schools in Baltimore where 0% of kids can do math at grade level, and another 5 or 6 where only 1% can. Now, what self-respecting parent sends his or her child to a school where only 3% or 0% of the kids can do math at grade level. And the school is run by a gang known as the Crips, which is the gang that runs my former high school, according to Ice-T, the rapper who attended my high school years after I did, and told me he chose that high school because he wanted to go to a Crip school. And one party, the Republican Party, wants that urban parent to have a choice, and the other party, wedded to the teachers union, wants the power to mandate where your kid goes, whether you want that kid to go there or not. And never mind, 44% of Philadelphia public school teachers with school-age kids, 44% of them have their own kids in private school. Is this thing on? I'm Larry Elder.
Trending now on The Mike Gallagher Show.
How many times a day do you ask yourself, am I going crazy? I had that moment last night when I turned on CNN for about 2 or 3 torturous minutes, and I saw what looked like about 20 or 30 cars pulled up to a stage where CNN was hosting a town hall with Joe Biden. And I'm comparing that to the president's rally in Wisconsin, because I went from CNN and the Biden town hall to the Trump rally in Wisconsin, and I thought, I'm losing my mind. That what they have a drive-in movie theater kind of function, and there's Biden standing like 12 feet away from Anderson Cooper. And then I saw a clip on social media that when they thought they were on a break, Anderson Cooper and Joe Biden immediately got close to each other, and Biden leaned in and was whispering something in Anderson Cooper's ear, like they didn't think the cameras are on, so they don't need to socially distance. And there were it was apparently a minor league baseball stadium in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and they had like cars pulled up and people standing in white boxes. They were like on a platform with white tape that you better stand in the box and ask Biden a bunch of softball questions about what a bad guy Donald Trump is. There are moments where you think you're losing your mind, but you're not. I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy. They are, okay? They're nuts. They're nuts.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today. Trending now on America First with Sebastian Gorka.
I detested everything political about Obama. I detest everything political and even personal about Biden, who I consider without doubt to be one of the most corrupt politicians this world has ever seen. But I don't wish and never have wished either of them dead. But that's the left. The left truly is fueled by hatred. That's why they don't think twice about hoping that the man who represents not just America, because that's who the president is, but who was the choice of 63 million of their fellow citizens, should die. That's a message to you as well, if you're one of those people. And this is what we face. We love this country. We love our fellow man. We love our fellow American, irrespective of their skin color, where they came from, if they have an accent, if they're rich, if they're poor. Why? Because that's the American way. That's how America was built, by an incredibly diverse group of individuals. And we're not a dictatorship. Therefore, we don't have to agree with each other. It's not about everybody singing from the same hymn sheet. It's about freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, the First Amendment. But even then, there are certain things which, if you are a decent individual, you just don't do.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today. Trending now on The Mike Gallagher Show.
So, Larry, please tell your radio listeners how that town hall meeting with Joe Biden and Lester Holt on NBC the other night. Joe Biden got totally easy softball question. He didn't get asked one single hard question. And supposedly the audience was undecided voters. They seemed to me to be all pro-Biden. You know, the audience was supposed to be undecided, but it seemed like they were all Democrats and Biden voters and not undecided voters. Thank you, Larry.
Mr. Vice President, are you aware that you were misquoting Donald Trump in Charlottesville? He never called neo-Nazis very fine people.
He called all those folks who walked out of that, they were neo-Nazis, shouting hate, their veins bulging.
But he said specifically that he was condemning them.
He did not. He said he walked out and he said, let's get this straight. He said there were very fine people in both groups. They're chanting anti-Semitic slogans, carrying flags.
But you're aware that he...
Mr. Vice President, her question's easy.
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243, Larry Elder, ReliefFactor.com study. That means Jake Tapper and Michael Schmerkanish, both of CNN, both of whom have said that Donald Trump was not referring to neo-Nazis and white nationalists. He was talking about the debate over whether or not a Confederate monument should be in the public square. So I guess those two are wrong as well. Now, I told you how much I love my MyPillow, how it's changed my sleep. It really has. You should also try the new MyPillow mattress topper. It is truly amazing. It comes with a 10-year warranty and a cover you can wash and dry, made right here in the country. Back with Mike Lindell's 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com. Save 30%. Use promo code Larry or call 800-890-1843. When you do, Mike will give you 2 standard pillows for free. MyPillow.com, promo code Larry, or call 800-890-1843. Earlene is in Woodbury, Minnesota. Earlene, you're on the Larry Otis Show. Always nice to hear from you.
Hi, Larry.
Hi.
Congratulations on your new appointment, too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's so awesome. Okay, I have a couple of things. I hope I can get them in really fast. In 2016, under Obama and Biden in Chicago, Michelle's hometown, and my hometown, by the way, 4,000 people were shot that year. 4,000 plus, 700 plus were killed. Majority were black.
Right.
We didn't hear anything from Biden. We heard little to nothing from the Obamas. Nothing at all. So I wonder if she ever brings that up.
And by the way, Earlene, murders in Chicago up 50% year to year.
Yep. That's my hometown. I keep up with what's going on there. And had she brought up Biden's recent gaffe about some black women were able to stock the grocery shelves? Has she brought that up?
No one's brought that up, Earlene. And I know what you're talking about. Joe Biden said, I'm here because some black woman stocked the groceries for me. It was his clumsy way of saying I'm here because a lot of people who are people of color are working in supportive jobs like that. And but for them, who knows, blah, 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 blah. That's what he said. Now, if Donald Trump had said the same thing, hey, I'm here because some black woman was able to stock the groceries for me. Are you kidding? Insensitive, insulting. That's what would have happened. Earlene, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. Ted is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ted, you're on the Larry Elder Show.
Yeah, hi, Larry. Nice to talk to you.
You too.
Thank you. I was just you had mentioned about Johnny Nash passing away. And my grandson Nick called me up. It's a big supporter. He's 21 of you. He listens to you every night, and he asked me about Johnny Nash because he asked me if I knew he had died, and I mentioned to him that there was a cartoon back in the 60s that they used to show here. It was called Hercules, and he did the intro, for that. I was just wondering if you was aware of that.
Ted, I was not aware that Johnny Nash did the intro for Hercules. I was not aware of that. I know he's a singer-songwriter, and as you know, the biggest song was I Can See Clearly Now, and he died yesterday. Ted, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. 888-971-SAGE. I mentioned that Jake Gardner, he's a man who killed himself. Omaha. This is Johnny Nash. Hercules. That one's not on my playlist. I'm not quite sure why. I got to put that one up there. Anyway, Ted, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I remember also one of his songs, Hold Me Tight, was in some sort of commercial for either Joe Namath or the New York Jets, or maybe it was a beer commercial, but it was some commercial where that song was used. That part of it. All right. Don't quit your day job, Larry. Why, you ask, is Relief Factor so successful? Well, tell you a little secret. Pete and Seth, the father-son owners of Relief Factor, lose money every single 3-week quick start they sell. But they know that if you try it, and if it improves your pain, and 70% of the people go on to reorder the Relief Factor, then eventually they'll get their money back. It'll be about 4 or 5 months before they even break even. And that's after you keep ordering it. This is huge. ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, 800-500-8384, 800-500-8384. The manufacturing industry has been eroding for decades by those seeking to circumvent America's strong labor and environmental laws. Do you support manufacturing in the USA? Do you believe in earned privilege? Check out mfggear.com. This clothing line was designed to create awareness for an industry that once flourished and made America strong. Join the Manufacture Local movement and support the mission to bring manufacturing jobs back home. Visit mfggear.com.
Trending now on the Dennis Prager Show.
I think that children need security more than love. They need to feel secure more than they need to feel love. And how often do people hear that? I mean, I'm sure that this is a new concept to many of you listening. And what is done today is a staggering sense of insecurity on the most basic level of all, on a primal level of biological survival. You can't get COVID. 5 students get it at California State University. Where was it? What? Long Beach? I don't remember exactly. Did they close down the university, or did they stopped in-person classes? Yeah, all right, so that's what I meant, yeah. The chances of your dying of COVID, if you are college age, are a fraction of 1%, a small fraction of 1%. I have to believe that there are more college-age kids dying of car crashes and drug overuse than of COVID. More Americans die, according to the statistics that I've seen, more Americans die a year because of mistakes in hospital than because of COVID.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today. Trending now on the Mike Gallagher Show.
How many times a day do you ask yourself, am I going crazy? I had that moment last night when I turned on CNN for about 2 or 3 torturous minutes, and I saw what looked like about 20 or 30 cars pulled up to a stage where CNN was hosting a town hall with Joe Biden. And I'm comparing that to the president's rally in Wisconsin, because I went from CNN and the Biden town hall to the Trump rally in Wisconsin.
Hi, Larry. This is Perry. I listened to your show. I got some comments and questions. Listening to your show about the COVID, everybody's all hyped up on the mask, and it's my understanding the mask is basically to keep you from spreading it, but nobody's talking about, everybody just assumes that President Trump got the COVID from not wearing the mask, when wouldn't it be more likely that most of those people got it from something being contacted and it being brought in on some type of surface or something? Thank you. Have a good night.
Bottom line is nobody really knows how he contracted it. 888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. And remember, the whole thing was to flatten the curve, to make sure that there wasn't any rush on hospital personnel, hospital staffing, hospital capacity, that we weren't going to stop the virus because there's no cure for it. The idea was to flatten the curve, even out the people that go to the hospital, and buy time for a treatment or treatments and a vaccine. That was the goal at first, remember? And then we achieved that. And then they switched it so now anybody who dies has died because Donald Trump has been irresponsible. When at first the goal was, well, we can't stop it because there's no cure for it. There's no treatment for it. What we can do is make sure a whole bunch of people don't get it all at once so that we don't overwhelm our healthcare system. We haven't overwhelmed the healthcare system, but they've now moved the goalpost. Speaking of goalposts, we post excerpts from our show on our YouTube channel called youtube.com/The Larry Elder Show Radio. Go to YouTube, find it, and be sure and click on the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified every time we post a new excerpt. And be sure to become an El Dorado. We do have a podcast of this show, you know. We take all the commercial interruptions out, and we put them on a podcast available for you. It's only 99 cents for the first month. Go to LarryElder.com. That's LarryElder.com. And become an El Dorado. You'll see a little E. Click it on and follow the prompts. Now, I mentioned this man, Iraq war vet, 2 tours of duty, decorated, defended himself in Omaha against Black Lives Matter protesters that attacked his store. He went outside. His father got attacked. He defended his father. He was jumped. He pulls out his firearm. He shoots 2 shots in the air to hopefully disperse people. He gets jumped still, and he shoots, and he kills. And the county prosecutor in Omaha investigated everything and said, no, self-defense. Protesters didn't like it, put pressure. They hire a special prosecutor. The special prosecutor then decided to indict Jack Gardner for murder. Jack Gardner killed himself.
Jake Gardner's lawyer says he died by suicide in Oregon Sunday. It all happened days after a grand jury indicted Gardner on 4 charges in the death of James Scurlock.
The KETV News Watch 7's Michelle Bandour has tonight's big story. Michelle.
Well, Rob and Alexandra, Jake Gardner's cousins tell me that it's been tough to stay quiet while watching a community portray their loved one as a racist killer. They say they will always stand by him, and they say they want to grieve and bury Jake Gardner in peace, but Omaha won't let them.
We made sure that he knew that we stand behind you. We know that you are not a racist. We know that you are a good person.
Jake Gardner's cousins asked us to disguise their identities for fear of retribution and attacks they've already seen on social media.
Now, I'm tempted to say if Jake Gardner were black and the person he shot white because this person was attacking him, then maybe, just maybe, there'd be a little more attention. However, remember the retired police captain, St. Louis, defending a store? He gets murdered. It's filmed on Facebook. Anybody talking about that? Murdered by protesters. Now they arrested the man in connection with the murder. He's black, so I guess that doesn't fit the script, does it?
Rejoicing and carrying on and celebrating because another life was lost.
The community should be ashamed of itself for how this was handled. They deemed him guilty from day one.
24 hours after finding out their cousin ended his life in Hillsboro, Oregon, they want the community to understand the man they knew and loved. They say Gardner expressed remorse after killing James Scurlock outside his Old Market bar in May.
We know you did not kill for a bar. You looked in your mother's eyes and told her, "I'm sorry, Mom. It was my life or his. I didn't mean to destroy our life."
Gardner's lawyers say the veteran Marine who served 2 tours of duty in the Middle East suffered from PTSD. The night of the unrest and the fatal shooting of Scurlock, they say, triggered trauma from the Iraq War.
You know, at what point does someone get over a war when things are going chaotic like that? Like they said, there's tear gas going off, people are shouting, then people attack him.
Gardner himself shared his feelings with KETV Newswatch 7 while waiting for the grand jury decision. He told us, quote, "I'm more anxious now than when I was flying to Iraq." He added he was there before and during 9/11. Gardner said he was also in Haiti in 2004 to break up the civil unrest.
You can look into his eyes in that video and you can see that fear. Yep. I look at that video and I see his eyes and I cry. To see the fear that that man was looking at, I know, Jake, I looked in those eyes thousands of times. He was terrified. We would like to grieve in peace with all the hate.
But we can't, because everybody's still happy that he's gone.
Well, the Gardner cousins tell me that they don't believe he would have received a fair trial here in Omaha if it had gotten that far.
Crickets. Meanwhile, Michelle Obama.
So what the president is doing is once again patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist.
The other thing that happens with this meme that the Obamas have put out, racism is in America's DNA. If I had a son, he looked like Trayvon. There's a place called Ferguson. We have our own problems. The Cambridge police acted stupidly, bringing Al Sharpton to the White House over 70 times. Eric Gardner referring to things like voter ID and the fact that black boys are disproportionately kicked out compared to white boys. And the fact that judges give longer sentences to black criminal defendants because the black criminal defendants have longer convictions. Eric Holder calling all these things pernicious racism. Start in 30. Also, during this debate, I hope that Mike Pence brings up that Kamala Harris and her party and virtually every single one of these Democrats supports either reparations or a commission to study reparations. Even Barack Obama felt that it would be too divisive to have something like this. We'll talk about all of that in just a few minutes. Now, I'm going to be really direct. If your cellular plan is with Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, you're paying way too much for the exact same coverage you could be getting right now with Pure Talk. Take a look at your cell phone bill where it shows data usage. The average person who switches to Pure Talk is using less than 4 gigs of data a month, but the big carriers, they charge you for unlimited data. That's like paying for an entire row on an airplane, but only needing 1 seat. That's how Pure Talk saves the average person over $400 a year on their wireless service. Unlimited talk, text, and 2 gigs of data, all for just $20 a month. And if you go over data usage, they don't charge you for it. Folks, switching to Pure Talk is the easiest decision you're going to make today. Grab your mobile phone, dial pound 250 and say Larry Elder. When you do, you're going to save 50% off your first month. Pound 250, pound 250, keyword Larry Elder. Pure Talk, simply smarter, wireless.
Trending now on the Eric Metaxas Show.
But the energy this president has, the ability to do all the things that he's done, are gifts from God. And I think that he's probably been tempted in his life to ignore that a little bit, and that this might be an opportunity for him to understand these things, including the ability to be president and to affect things for good. These are gifts from God. These are privileges. And, as you said, again, this is it's an opportunity. Sometimes when you go through something like this, it's God's way of blessing you.
Well, I was thinking of that specifically when I wrote the section of the column today that said the president's going to have a hard time slowing down. There's an element to the manic addiction to success that for people that really, live off that vibe. And I think that sometimes there's just no other way for God to reach certain people than to say, I'm going to give you a timeout. So guess what? He's not going to campaign. He's not going to be able to be out having the big rallies. He's not going to be able to do all of this. I for all the political things that are kind of under the microscope because of that, I'm okay with those setting aside for a couple of weeks if God does something in his life that is remarkable. And I think that when you're talking about a Supreme Court nominee that's going to be being examined during this same window of time, you're talking about a stimulus relief package that still probably needs to be passed, or at least Congress is arguing about that. Maybe it's better if he is just experiencing a little bit of a slowdown if God has predetermined that this is the time to do it. And it evidently is.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today.
This is Owen Strand for townhall.com. If you're on a college campus today or have a child on campus, there's a solid chance you'll hear this. All white people are racist. You might hear this too. America is founded on white supremacy. These two sentences are not mere overheated emotion. They express an ideology called critical race theory.
I heard that Fredo on CNN had a complete meltdown over Trump waving at the people and what he said about not being afraid of the virus. Just a total meltdown, cursing, calling him all kinds of names that had to be beeped. Some of them weren't beeped. But you didn't see him having a meltdown like that when his own stupid brother put contaminated COVID people into nursing homes, killing tens of thousands of them. You didn't hear one peep from him about that. What a hypocrite, And he just makes me sick. That whole batch at CNN, it's just so disgusting and hateful. They're evil is what they are.
And did you hear Governor Cuomo denied that he issued a directive to put COVID-19 positive patients in nursing homes? Even CNN called him out on that. Yeah, the governor denied it ever even happened. Thank you very much for the call, 888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. In a few minutes, there'll be that debate. We're going to be talking about it. Now, here is the zip poll question I left you with yesterday. Do you think it was irresponsible for President Trump not to have worn a mask more frequently in public? Mr. McConnell, what did people say? Question, do you think it was irresponsible for President Trump not to have worn a mask more frequently in public? What percentage said yes? Mr. McConnell said 25, actually 13%. 87% said nope, not irresponsible. Here's the one for tonight. Do you think Joe Biden will agree, as currently scheduled, to participate in 2 more debates with President Trump? A, yes, Biden will debate Trump 2 more times. B, no, Biden will figure a way out of at least one of the debates. In order to participate, you must be a member of the Zip community. Go to your app store and search under Zip Poll USA, and you be sure and use my code SAGE, S-A-G-E. Donald Trump bought pizza for his supporters outside of the hospital, Walter Reed, and they were ecstatic.
Trump has been buying us pizzas all freaking day. Trump? That is from Trump. He has bought over 250 pizzas that keep coming in every 45 half hour. Right, Barta, what you got? 45. 45 minutes. Every 45 minutes to a half hour, Donald Trump is dropping off hot pizza. And you know it's from Trump because this isn't gluten-free, all right? There's meat on this. Trump's an alpha. That's why there's so much of it. And no, CNN, we're not getting paid. This is great.
Well, when did the pizza start coming?
Pizza started coming all day. I got here 3 or 4 hours ago.
And you know it's from President Trump because it has meat on it. He's an alpha male. It has meat. But did it have anchovies? I'm Larry Elder. See you tomorrow.